And good morning. Hi to hello. Hi to hello, folks. Lester here. And I want to thank you all for joining me. I'm filthy. I want to thank you guys for joining us this morning on our morning live. I am coming to you from inside the RV, and I'm also coming to you on my laptop on both channels, Longhorn Lester's and I'm a Survivor Sanctuary, because today is a special day. Or is it? You heard me right. Or is it? I had to ask the question, or is it? I am about to get myself a cup of coffee going here. And in case you're wondering why I'm not on my phone, that's because I've already been out this morning and done all that I can possibly do. Everyone's cold and they're all laid up, and it's just blistery cold. And so there's no reason for us to go out there and put ourselves into all of that. 23 degrees as of right now here in Livingston, Texas. I do think it's a little bit colder where my dad is at. I just talked to him. I watched his live this morning. He and I communicated on our rapid radios. Uncle Dan jumped on, and Dan said he was also out breaking his ice from his water troughs. So that's something that we do here. We don't have the fancy little heaters like you guys do that go into our water troughs. So we got to go out there and break ice. Now, the problem with breaking ice and the fact that it's still, in the 20s is that water will refreeze again. So you may have to break that ice several times throughout the day. I'm happy that from where I'm sitting right here, I can see everything. All the cows are laid up. All of the cows here are laid up, but Rita and Roman have already finished their breakfast and they've walked across the pasture. And as of right now, they're down by the pond. They're walking around just trying to warm their bodies up. So my coffee is brewing behind me. I will pour that as soon as it's ready. So what I'm reading is it's quite cold where you guys are at also. I'm just making sure that we have a good signal. Everyone's able to hear me okay. I don't use my laptop from here very often. I usually bring it with me when I travel. And then going on to the StreamYard app, which is what we use when we want to combine both of our channels together into one, sometimes creates a little bit of issues. Sometimes it sounds like I'm drunk, or it sounds like I have no teeth in my mouth, or some people say it sounds like I've had myself a stroke. I assure you that as I sit here on Wednesday, the 22nd, it's almost 9 o'clock a.m. my time. I don't think I've had a stroke. I know I've not been drinking, and I may not have the best of teeth, but I do not have dentures. These are all real and they're all mine. Every single chip, yes, and yes, every one of them. My dad did go live this morning, which is why I'm quite a bit later than normal. I was trying to go earlier in the 7 o'clock hour to beat him, but friends, I just couldn't get going. I'm so sorry. I leave the blinds open to the east side of my little bedroom there, so when the sun comes up, it wakes me up. Otherwise, on these cold mornings, I'll just sleep right in. And so I saw when the sun came up, it's like 6:30. I close my eyes and turn around, put the pillow over my head, doze. Hey, happy birthday, Chris. Let's all say hi and happy birthday to Chris here, y'all. Where's she at? No. There. My friends, it is Chris Boyard Bowles' birthday. Happy birthday, sweet lady. So I will sing you a song. So everyone knows the traditional song, Happy Birthday to You. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to sweet lady Chris. Happy birthday to you. But when I taught school, I didn't stop right there, because the favorite part of the kids' song was for the next verse in that. And many more, your pants are tore. Go to the store and buy some more. And while you're there, wash your hair. But don't forget your underwear. Oh my gosh. I would sing that to those kids and they would all sing along with me. And you would have kids from the ages of from third graders all the way up to high school kids, and many more. Go to the store and, buy some more. They're all doing this to themselves or to each other. And it was the funniest and dumbest thing ever. But I always made sure that I would celebrate every child's birthday. What I would do is have a bag in one of my locked closets. And it would be something simple, just something simple, some kind of a gift. It could be as simple as a water bottle but you know what? It wasn't the gift that they received. That was a big deal. Sometimes I'd give them a lollipop, a popsicle, whatever you would call them. But it wasn't the gift. It was the acknowledgement. It was taking the time. It was the song. And there's a lot of teachers who would say, you have, several hundred students through the course of a school year, and think about how much wasted time you're spending by taking time out to sing to every one of those kids whenever they have their birthdays. But I'll tell you what, I think that a part of the success I had as a teacher was all having to do with what they called building relationships. I really do feel like I could build relationships with these students, and those relationships could get you through some really hard times, especially when it came time, that was very stressful for these kids. Testing, for example. I don't know how all states do it, but here in Texas, they have these standardized tests, and so much rides on the results of these tests. I mean, funding, so much, so very much, so my gosh. And so sometimes, these kids, 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids, they don't give a darn about your school funding. You can't convince them that these tests are important because it's going to put them into a different class next year they don't care. But what they did care about is their teacher. And if you had yourselves a relationship with your student on the level of they loved you, they trusted you, you were a lot more than just their teacher. You were also sometimes a parent. If they needed a role model, you were an uncle, you were somebody who they could go to if they needed someone to trust them. Then I tell you what, they would give you the world. They would give you the world. And it meant very little on my time to sing them a birthday song. Sometimes you're singing more than one song a day. But you know what? They loved it. And I miss those days. I miss that part of teaching. I really, really do. But anyway, Miss Chris, happy birthday. We love you, and thank you for being a part of the family. I see that you're coming from Facebook, so welcome. We don't do a whole lot with Facebook anymore, and anyone who's on here now on Facebook knows that there's probably a whole lot that you've missed. And that's not because Lester's being any, it's nothing to do with Lester. It's everything to do with Facebook. My coffee's ready. I'm going to go ahead and pour this. But I'm not going to get into all of that today. I will not get into the whole Facebook versus YouTube versus anybody else right now. We're not doing that right now. There we go. Isn't this the cutest little coffee mug? I received this as a gift. I received 2 of these. There we go. And the only bad thing about it is that it's hard to hold because the glass is thin and it does get hot. So you have to hold by the lid, and you don't want to touch that glass because it is as hot as the coffee itself. So Someone said, Facebook, we really do miss you. And I will be the first to admit that we really do miss Facebook. But there are changes going on in social media. And the same way that here's a good question. Let's all think and talk about the social media sites that used to be pretty big, that we used to be a part of, and that have now gone away, or they're so small that no one uses them anymore. And I'm telling you guys, you can look me in the eye if you want to. Facebook is on that path. I think that I remember the first one, I think, is MySpace. So we all remember MySpace, and most of us who are around a certain age had ourselves a MySpace account. And then you had other ones like Tumblr. And does anyone here remember Tumblr? Oh my gosh, yes. AOL. You got mail. AOL. AOL, Tumblr, Musically. Oh, there's so many. There, Vine. And so, friends, I'm not oblivious to not to realize that social media does change, and channels that are popular one day will die out the next. And I do think that Facebook is trying desperately to hold on. They are grasping. They're just grasping at whatever they can. I do believe that Mark Zuckerberg has pretty much tried to do a complete political turnaround, trying to snatch on to anybody and anybody who will allow him a voice, because he wants to keep his business alive. And I understand that. But Facebook, I believe, is a lost cause. They're so micromanaged. They have, I forgot what you guys call it. Bobo, LimeWire. Oh my God, you guys are good. You remember all of these things. Yahoo. Now, I believe it or not, I still do use Yahoo Mail. Oh my gosh, there's so many. There's so many. But now I do believe that Facebook is grasping for straws, I think is the word, and they're trying anything and everything to still be legitimate. But I don't know. I think that they've allowed themselves to be so micromanaged, and it's just really, I mean, think about how many people have been scammed or spammed and everything else from Facebook. So, but let's not talk about Facebook. Let's not talk about social media if we can help it. Could we focus today on, number one, getting some of this into me? And then I also want to talk about Chuck. And that's why I included the Facebook audience this morning, because even though we're not going to make a darn penny off of Facebook, Facebook will keep all of it. Facebook will make plenty of money today, and we will see none of that. But I wanted you to be a part of what's going on, because I don't want you to be lost or out in the dark. So today's kind of a big announcement day and something upcoming. All right. So this is pretty good, but it's so darn hot. I want to start by talking about two issues that Justin is having this morning. And it's kind of funny, but one of those issues is mechanical, and the other one of those issues is emotional. And I'm just wondering how many people might know who's having a harder time with Chuck leaving. I don't know if there's anybody here from the Steinmetz family farm. I'm trying to read all of the comments as they come through. But yes, I found one over here. Yes, Kim, isn't it the saddest thing? So Miss Kim, I don't know. And I see now there's several. There's a lot of people that watch not only our channel, but also watch Steinmetz. And so listen, it's the farmhand Jeff. So let's equate Jeff to, let's just say their Jeff is like our Jake. Now, Jake does not work for us anymore, but Jake did work for I'm a Survivor back in the old days. And, Jake began to get to know the animals, and Jake began to get to love the animals. He had his favorites. Well, Jeff has a favorite, y'all, and Jeff's favorite is Chuck. And this morning, I want to show you a little snippet that I illegally screen recorded. I'm guilty, but I think it's worth it. I want to show you a little snippet of what I screen recorded of both Justin and Jeff. And today is the day they're going to be leaving and heading this way. And Jeff is having a hard time with it. And let me just show y'all this. We have a nice audience right now. Let me just show you real fast this snippet of Jeff. And I think you're going to fall in love with him, because I know I do. Not in a weird way, but just the human side of me just loves this man. Watch, okay?
Racing the trucks, and
right.
However, he's getting castrated.
Right.
So it can go either way. Right? So
yeah,
I guess the best choice is we just cancel this whole thing and we leave him right where he's at for the rest of his life.
Can't.
Why?
He needs a bigger area.
So you're willing to give Chuck up to Lester so he can have a bigger area?
Doesn't that image right there just break your heart? Look at his lips. What I like to do, I read body language, y'all. And I don't want to get emotional myself. You guys know I'm an emotional guy. You do. You know that I am an emotional guy. Can I make that any bigger? I'm an emotional guy, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's embarrassing at times when I don't want to show emotion, and I can't help it. But I'm a big body language reader, and I'm sitting here watching Jeff and Justin. They're in the truck, and Jeff is like, "Today's the day. Today we're heading to Texas. This is it. We're gonna load Chuck." And I look over there, and Justin is trying to convince Jeff that this is the best thing. But what Justin wants to do is he wants Jeff to try to find a way to internalize it on his own. And I'm going to replay that little snippet, and I want you to watch Jeff, and I want you to watch his face and his arm stuck in his, his cold. So his arms are in his pockets, and his lip, he kind of turns his frown, and he's sad. And this broke my heart for this man. Let's watch it again. Where's it at?
I want him to be happy. I want him to a bigger area.
So you're right.
And then watch what Jeff says, y'all. Watch what Jeff finally says when Justin gets him to internalize and vocalize what he's saying. Listen.
So
yeah,
I guess the best choice is we just cancel this whole thing and we leave him right where he's at for the rest of his life.
Can't.
Why?
He needs a bigger area.
So you're willing to give Chuck up to Lester so he can have a bigger area?
I want him to be happy. I want him to be able to live out a happy life, his best life, right? I said it before, and I said it on lives. If I was a millionaire, or if I was wealthy, he wouldn't be going anywhere. Like he would have a.
I can't wait to meet that man. But listen, bless him. I'm gonna get emotional anyway. Gosh darn it! But bless Jeff, and bless people like Jeff. And Jeff is having a really hard time loading this bull and saying his goodbyes. But Jeff also knows that, and Justin needed Jeff to understand this. Justin needed Jeff to understand, and Jeff had to put it into his own words. Justin says, "So you want to leave Chuck where he's at forever?" And Jeff thought about it for a minute, and he says, he can't. It's too small. And Jeff said he wants them to live a better life. He wants them to have a better life. I don't know what's wrong with me. I should be excited. But anyway, then Jeff went on, and he says if he were a millionaire, or if he was someone that had the financial means, he would build himself a place for Chuck. And, of course, everyone knows. If you don't know, Justin is more of a goat guy. Justin does goats, and Justin will tell you this whole story himself. If you don't know Justin, you should take a chance to get to know him. But he'll tell you the same story I'm about to tell you, that goats is what he does. Whereas we all have our passions and the things that we do. And Justin is more into the goats. And Chuck was just something that he got caught up in and got too big for his britches way too fast. I don't mean to get sad, but I laid in bed and I watched that this morning, and my heart just broke for that man because, well, you learn to love these babies, and as dangerous and as mean as they can sometimes be, it's just no different than your children. It ain't no different than your children, y'all. Your kids can sometimes, when they're teenagers especially, they can be so mean. They can be so hurtful. They can say things that can really hurt you and dig deep into you. But you still love them. And and so I know that Justin and Chuck love that bull, and my heart breaks for that man. But they're having a few issues this morning getting going. I have not connected yet to find out exactly what's going on with the mechanical part, but they're having a little bit of an issue getting one of their machines that moves the trailers around to crank because it's so darn cold. So they're working on getting everything loaded, but it is going to be Jeff, which is the farm help. It's going to be Lauren, which is Justin's wife, and of course Justin, and the three are driving down together. They're leaving today. Once they get everything situated, they will take turns driving so as to get here faster and not have to take breaks or as many breaks. They'll stop for restroom, they'll stop for fuel and whatnot, but they will be bringing Chuck with them. And then I also want to remind everybody that you have to remember that when Chuck gets here, he will not be at 100% health. Now, there's nothing wrong with Chuck, but a drive of any length really is going to upset the system of a larger animal. They don't always ride as well. And so you could even remember if you watched my nephew Jake recently, as he moved his cows, less than an hour drive from his place to his new place and dropped them off. The tummies get very upset, and there's going to be an upset tummy. So Justin knows this. We've talked about it. The vets know about it. They've tried to give Chuck something in his system to help keep him calm and maybe help him a little bit travel easier. But just know that when Chuck arrives, and I'm certain that Justin will record everything. I'll be here with getting my videos as well. Chuck's going to need some days to rest and recuperate. And so we're blessed to have wonderful weather coming up. We're going to have a beautiful weekend. Temperatures will exceed 50, maybe in the 60s. Our nights will not be near as cold as they have been. We have sun by day, and we're going to have some beautiful, beautiful weather while Justin and his family are here to visit, and while we have Chuck dropped off. So I just wanted you all to be a part of that and see that. There was Valerie says in that trailer of Jake's, there were literally inches of poop. Yeah, their tummies are very sensitive. You wouldn't think that, but most animals, horses are not so bad. Horses travel very well. Very well. But cows do not. And I don't know the science behind it. I do not know really what makes it that way. But you can load a cow, and the nerves of a cow, maybe it's the nervousness, I don't know, but it will upset the tummy. So Chuck will get here very dehydrated. And we're just going to hope that we don't have any kind of long-term problems. But we're going to wait until Chuck seems to be completely restored back to health before we go forward with the castration. Okay? So As far as the 50 acres is here, and Chuck will have access to most of that acreage in time. But we do have to make sure that we maintain the integrity of our herd. We don't want to, we want to make sure we have our time for quarantine. And then we are more than happy to take on this rescue or this surrender, however you guys want to look at it, and all that goes along with it. But we will have to make sure that we do our due diligence as the sanctuary as well. So all of those, there's some wonderful days ahead for Chuck. I also want to show you something funny. So whoever asked, why does Chuck need to be castrated? We have a purebred herd of Longhorn here. And so for two reasons. Number one, we would not want Chuck to breed any of our cows, because that would in fact create a mixed breed. And a mixed breed cow, a mixed breed cow would be a lot harder to ever have as a part of a purebred herd. So we try to keep our herd pure, and that's for obvious reasons. Secondly, if he's not castrated, the bulls will fight, and we're trying not to fight. We don't want our cows fighting. Everyone knows, and if you've watched the channel long enough, everyone knows that if your bulls do not have a reason to fight, then they won't. And so those reasons are usually girls and nuts. And so they're going to fight over who has the bigger no-nos, not the banana, but the apples. They fight over apples, y'all. They fight over the apples. And so we know that that'll happen. And then after that, they will fight over girls. So if Chuck, in fact, is castrated, he will not have an interest in the ladies, and he will not have an interest in trying to prove his place on the pecking order. And so that's why we've decided, Justin and I both have talked about it, and we've both decided that it would be better to go ahead and have those apples removed, so as we don't have to deal with fighting or possible breeding. Okay. And then for those who wonder how we have two bulls, we try. I say we try. It's not always that easy, but we try to manage our herd to where Tex, our main bull, is allowed to operate, is a nice way of putting it, with some of the ladies who he does not share a bloodline with. And then Waylon, who is his lieutenant or his second in command, gets the other ladies. I will say, and I'll go ahead and just tell y'all, to be honest, I do think that Waylon makes prettier babies. Would you guys in the comments agree with me on that? Or is that something you don't want to talk about? You've all seen, I almost said the product. You've seen the product from Tex, and you've also seen the product from Waylon. Would you guys agree that Waylon makes prettier babies than what Tex does? There's a lot. So if you're reading the comments that I'm reading, you can see there's quite a few people who do agree with that. Now, Tex makes some really pretty babies. Tex can make some really pretty babies, y'all. But I think that Waylon may make prettier babies. And the way I judge a baby cow is the bone structure, and I make sure everything is symmetrical. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not looking for the Mona Lisa here. But what I like in Waylon's offspring are the fact that they seem to be stocky and strong, and they just seem to be a little bit, I'm going to call it markings. They're prettier. They're just prettier. Tex makes a lot of white babies. That sounds horrible. That sounds horrible. Nothing wrong with white babies. Tex does not produce as colorful of children as what Waylon does. That sounds so horrible, and I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. Careful, Lester. Hey, listen, I want to show you something else that Justin made. Really funny. It was a part of one of his little reels. Y'all watch this. Enjoy the laugh.
Everybody, it's not going to be like this in Texas. I promise. It won't be like this in Texas. No.
Only thing that's on my mind is who's gonna run this town and
Wasn't that hilarious? Don't worry, Chuck. It's not going to be like this in Texas. You're not going to have to ever deal with this kind of weather again. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. I mean, Justin is a very creative video creator. He has some skills in editing, and so he put that together yesterday and sent it to me. And I don't know if he's actually published that yet, so I hope I did not beat him to that. But it's only here on a live. It's not going to be on my page unless he lets me use it, which would be funny. But so I thought that was hilarious, how one day he's saying, don't worry, Chuck, it's not going to be near this cold in Texas. And then that slash cutaway to Texas from yesterday, and as bitterly cold as it was with all of our snow. So no. Anywho, so that's what's going on, friends. I think I covered everything. So once again, just to recap, I will get off of here and I'll find out right away if Justin was ever able to get Chuck loaded, and if they are in fact on their way. I will also I'm going to remind you all that when they get here tomorrow, they will be staying in the RV. So Jamie and I would like to have them come over to the South Ranch and have dinner. Jamie will cook something for us all. And so hopefully we can have Justin and Jeff and Lauren come by and visit with Carl, our ostrich. That'll be fun. And see all of our babies over there, our Ringos, our Pig Trudies, and all of those cast of characters that call the South Ranch their home. And then, of course, we would love to host them and have some kind of just an informal dinner or something. They're going to be eating fast food all along the way. I know they're going to want to sit down and have an actual meal. And so Jamie will find something to cook. And Jamie's a wonderful cook. So I'm excited about that. We'll let Justin meet all of our goats and see how many he wants to take home with him. I'm kidding. He might want to take some home. We have some wonderful goats, but no, all of our goats are going to be staying here. And then I also encouraged Justin. I says, Justin, while you're here, I want you to make sure you capture and grab any video, any live that you possibly can. I says, because I feel in a way saddened that as a content creator, everyone knows that one of your, one of the things that people who follow your channel will do is they end up falling in love with a character. And so you guys can vouch for that. I would be real curious to know who are your favorite characters. And that could be any of our characters. Now, when I say characters, remember that even though we create videos, what we really do is create novels, but in a video form, or movies, if you want to. Maybe I'm just trying to glamorize it a little bit too much. But a lot of people say they have their favorite characters, and you're seeing them over here now. Some love Rita, some love Ruby Sue. Someone loves me. I'm their favorite character. Well, thank you. Cheers to you, sweet lady. But I see Starla. I see Loretta. I see a whole lot of people who find yourself drawn to certain characters, and that's normal. But the sad thing with Justin is that he has a very large following of people who love Chuck and they love everything about Chuck. Now, they're going to continue to be a part of Justin's social media family, but they're going to lose a large part of that content whenever Chuck is no longer there. They'll still have their, I forgot the names of some of their other animals. I'm sorry, I don't watch a lot of videos, but they're going to lose a very large piece of his content. And so I want Justin to make sure that every time he sees a video that I make that has Chuck, then by all means screen record it, grab it, use it, because he also runs a business, and he also has people who want to keep up with that beautiful bull. And not all of those people will jump over. People don't usually leave a channel for another one. They become a part of that channel, and they become a part of the day in the life of that channel. So his people will have a hard time seeing Chuck leave. Now, there may be a few that will jump over and say hello, just kind of to get to know more about the new whereabouts. And we welcome those folks. But we know that a large part of you is also breaking today to see Chuck, who's been a member of your social media family and a character in your novel, is going to be leaving today. So everyone who's ever been a part of any kind of TV show and a character has to be played out here or there, there's always different reasons. If you've ever loved and you lost, then you know. So there are people who are still talking about their favorite animals, the Ringos, the Pig Trudys, and so many others. Roman, there's quite a few characters here. We're blessed for that. So Ruby and Danny, absolutely. Oh, well, the last thing I want to talk about, and then I promise I'll let you guys go. I've had you for 36 minutes already, and it's never my intention to keep you guys too long. I did end up changing my phone number yesterday. I had to, and that's not why I'm on a live from my laptop. I went to my laptop so as I could go and bring all of our channels together. The Longhorn Lester Facebook is here. Longhorn Lester YouTube is here. And I'm a Survivor Sanctuary YouTube is here. I wanted everyone to be together to talk and hear about Chuck, okay? But there was a particular lady who a lot of people were accusing me of it being my fault. And I just don't understand the mind of someone who says it's your own fault for putting out your phone number. Guys, phone numbers for a business, phone numbers need to be available for people who need. And so think about how many rescues we have brought in, from the Romans to just, you can name for yourselves. And those people have to be able to contact us. So in that respect, you need to make sure that your phone number is available, your email is available, and maybe even your address, because this is the world that we live in. You need to be available if you need to be available, right? But now when you have people that take advantage of that and stop by unannounced, people don't do that. I'm sorry, but normal, sane people would never just get in their vehicle and drive to someone's home, pull up into their driveway, get out of their cars and start walking around. And so you say, well, it's your own fault, Lester, for telling them your address. No, it's not my fault for saying my address, because your address is available for people to send stuff, for deliveries, for various reasons. It's the sickness of a society to think it's the entitlement of a society that we live in for people to think, oh, I know your address now, we're making a trip to Texas. That's not the way it works. And then with the phone number, we have to have phones. And Facebook, because it's a business, asked a business to have a phone number. So we put a phone number. but there's no excuse for somebody to sit there and literally spam call. And if you're going to say, oh, Lester, that lady's probably mentally challenged, she's probably not all the way there. Well, she's smart enough to block and hide her number. She's smart enough. If this lady is smart enough to block her number where I can't block her, and then she calls me at the most inopportune times on purpose, I agree. I don't think that she's anywhere not there. I think that she's just an entitled C word. C word. Sorry, I don't use that word hardly ever. The Australians do. The Australians use it all the time. But that's what I think. And so I'm not here to scold. I'm not here to punish. But my phone number that I was very attached to, a phone number that I've had for over 20 years. And in 20 years, I've never had to go change a number. There's been an occasional ex-girlfriend who may have called, or an angry boyfriend of a girlfriend, or, that's life, y'all. That's life. But what's not normal is for people to say, oh, Lester's live, I'm about to go F with him. And they did it every single time I would go live. And then what made me so upset yesterday was there was a beautiful moment. There was a beautiful moment that I probably, in hindsight, should have just recorded and played it in a scheduled video. But there's something unique about seeing things happen in real time. There are people, maybe even you, who will agree that watching a live video does a whole lot more for you than watching a pre-recorded scheduled video from something that happened 2 days ago. So when I realized what I was about to embark on, a difficult job that I was about to do, I had the option to just record it and show you all later after I edit, or just go live. And from this property, the North Ranch property, we have an amazing signal where I can go live almost anywhere on this property. And so I go to my internet and I go live, and as within the first minute, here she comes. And then she comes again. And every time, so this is this is where you don't understand. For those people who are saying just block her, guys, you can't block somebody if they have their number as unlisted. I'm happy that you don't know that, because that means that you are not a psycho like she is. But when someone has their number as unlisted, you can't go block them. I'm not going to keep you about this. This is the dumbest thing, but I just wanted you to understand. When someone has their number listed as no caller ID, 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 this goes for pages, pages and pages and pages. So what she had to do was do the no caller ID function, however she does that. I don't even know how to do that. And I'm hoping that you don't know how to do that. But the person that you guys are saying, oh, it's not her fault, Lester, she's probably mentally unstable. No, she's a C word is what she is. And she knows just what she's doing. But I'm happy to announce she will never do it again. So, anywho's, I have a new number after 20-something years. What I have to do is, I guess, go to my phone book, and anybody who might need me legitimately. Fire Chief Chris was one from yesterday, for example. I had to give my phone number to Fire Chief Chris. I had to go by to the moderators. And I says, moderators, here's the new number. I'm so very sorry. I'm so embarrassed, really. I'm just so embarrassed that you have to do this. And I had to go by and to my family members. and let them know there's a new number. And then, do you know how hard it was for my almost 80-year-old dad to try to figure out how to enter my new number and replace my old number? And that's not easy. It's not easy to explain. I wasn't there to do it for him. And so when I get upset and tell that lady and call her every possible name I can think of, but yeah, I'm not sorry for that. I'm not sorry for calling her the C word. And I wish I were Australian. I would just spit it out and not even give a darn. So yes, in a way, it is a new beginning, but it was not easy for my family members, especially the ones like my dad and my mom, to try to figure out how to go by and change a number. I've given up WhatsApp. There's no more WhatsApp. I don't check emails. I am trying to reclaim my life. I'm trying to reclaim my life. And then the last thing that I'll say, and I promise I will let you go. I promise I will. I'm not going to get into anything else. Let's go ahead and end this on a positive note. Let me get me a pair of glasses. And at this point, I would love, someone says, I don't know what the C word means. Well, I ain't going to say it. I ain't going to say it, lady. I think I might can be able to read. If you have any questions that you would like to ask, if you could put those in all caps, that way I can see them a little bit easier. Christina's clever. She says, see you next Tuesday. Oh, a lot of folks know that one. A lot of people know that one. Well, the see you next Tuesday later will not be seeing me anymore. Everyone likes how the way Christina did that. Oh, I'd love to talk about this. Rita, talking about Rita. I've already lost the comment, Miss Sweet person. Let me see if I can find it for you. I like to put it up there so we can all see who we're talking to. Wow, it went by so darn fast, and I'm so sorry. I saw it, I read it, but I could not catch it. Rita is doing wonderful. I'll tell y'all what, though. Here we go. Miss Erin. Miss Erin, you sure are a pretty lady. Miss Erin says, you're doing great with Rita. So thank you so much, Miss Erin. I appreciate the compliment. I have so many worries that I'm doing it wrong. And I don't know if you've ever wanted to do something and you wanted to be good at it, but you just felt like every time you tried, you were making more mistakes. And then you may correct an old mistake only to make a new one. And so that's kind of the struggle that I've had with Rita, is I know that she needs a lot, and we've come so far in I would say about 3 months of really, really lots of work, like almost daily, not every day, because we've had inclement weather, and there have been days that I could not work with her. But I would say that out of the 3 months, ever since we moved her out of the horse pasture and moved her in with the donkeys and our littles, and me pulling her out to work with her, introducing her to a pocket full of snacks. I know that was horrible. But she has come so far. She's come a very long ways. And it's probably true that there are people that would be a whole lot better with her and could teach her a whole lot better. But you know what? I take Rita on as kind of a challenge. And I've said this before. I welcome a challenge. I like them. There are people in life who live and they thrive on putting themselves into challenging situations. And I knew that Rita was going to be tough. And but I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. Now I want to add one thing real fast before I move on too far. I'm not a horse person, and there are people who are suggesting that Rita needs to be with a horse person. Rita is living a lesser life because she's not under the care of a horse person. And I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. I'm looking out now and I see Rita and Roman across the pasture grazing on the most beautiful of green grass here in the month of January. Grass seed that I planted for them to have good nutrition during these colder and harsher months. I know that Rita gets vet care when she needs it. She gets farrier work. She has a warm bed to lay in. She has a blanket that she wears on colder nights. She has somebody who she hangs out with all day, who is her companion, her partner in Roman. She also has a guy who may not know much about what he's doing, but he walks out there with her and spends time with her every single day. Every single day. Now, if you think that Rita should be somewhere that has fancy stables and they have that little machine, y'all seen that machine where they hook that horse to that little machine and it makes them walk around and around and around and around and around and around? If that's what you mean, then you and me are nothing alike. You and I are nothing alike. If you think that I should send Rita off to a place like that with one of those little machines that you put on her halter, stick her halter to her, that rope to her mouth, and make her follow that machine in circles all darn for however long they do that. Is it called a hat walker? I don't know. But you and I are nothing alike. If you're the kind of person who keeps screaming that she needs to go to a professional, she needs to be, oh my gosh, darn it, here I see it again. And then we'll talk about Mr. Rick. I don't mind talking about Mr. Rick. Rick is wonderful, and Rick has taught me a lot. But I'm not Rick. I will not go out there and try to put one rein under her neck. One rein right here. Do I have a rope? I'm not going to put one rein here and have to flip it over her head if I want to go that way, flip it over her head to go that way. That's effing nuts. That is effing nuts. I love Rick, but that right there is a man who's trying to show off. That's a man who's trying to show off his horse skills and how calm his horse's demeanor is. And that's fine. That Rick, like Rick will say, what he does with his horses is what he does with his horses. Let me show y'all how that works. I'm going to use, listen, I watched Rick's video. Let's just pretend this is what Rick wants me to do. I'm Rita. Rick is over here. And he wants me to try, or he would like me, or he says if it was his horse, what he would do is single rein. He would connect that rein to that little loopty right there. And he can work her this way, or, you ready? He can work her that way. You ready? He can work her this way. And that horse has to be able to understand that that single rein is going to be whipping around her head. I watched that video and I says, are you freaking nuts? And if you want to see that, then you should go watch those types of channels. But I'm a 50-year-old man who's tired and who has a couple of issues with some knees and some joints in my shoulders. And I'm doing the best that I can. And I think that Rita's doing pretty darn good. All right. So Rick has an opinion and I value it. but I'm not going to do all of the things that he says he would have done. Courtney and Ashley have their opinions, and they're wonderful. They've helped a lot. I don't know if there's anybody who knows more about horses, our kind of horses, than what Courtney does. She has seen them all. You know what? And I value her opinions. She is the one that said, Lester, get on that horse. Get on that horse. That horse could carry two of you. I'm not going to do that, y'all. So anyway, Miss Ginger says, Lester, working with Rita is constant practice. Horsemanship is art and a practice. Keep it up. Thank you, Miss Ginger. I agree. It's going to be a challenge, and every day does present new challenges to us. But I'm enjoying working with her, and I do find it as quite a challenge. Thank you for sharing your family with us. I enjoy watching all of your animals. We learn along with you, from Cheryl. Thank you, Miss Cheryl. I appreciate that. And the pleasure is mine. I've said before that what we do, we would do with or without you. I don't mean that in a mean way, but what we do, we've been doing a long time before we ever met. And we will continue doing what we do a long time after you guys go off and find the newest and the funner and gooder social media channels, because people do leave, y'all. People do come and go. We get that. But what we do is what's in our blood. And it is a joy to share it with you if you choose to be a part of it. It's a joy. It's always funner and gooder. Lester, what is your plan to do with that life-size cutout of you? I don't know. Am I going to be getting that? Will that be staying with me? Will that be staying with me? Leanne says, looking forward to getting to know your animals and family. Oh, Leanne, are you new to the channel? Well, Leanne, I want to say hi to hello and welcome you. Welcome to the family. And we are also looking forward to getting to know you, Miss Leanne. That's beautiful, Miss Leanne. Thank you. I appreciate that. Coffee clinks to you all. Lester, Justin is talking to you. Lester, Justin is talking to you. Is Justin here right now? Well, believe it or not, even Justin got my new number. Let's see if he's trying to text me. Justin has my new number. And as of right now, Justin has not messaged me this morning. So I can try to find Justin's name, but I don't see it here anywhere. They're going by real fast. Don't forget, we have 3 different channels all here together. Facebook and then both YouTubes. And so I'm trying to see, but I just don't see anything from Justin. But I am looking. So I'm also seeing Al Hand says, I keep missing the Chuck story, and I'm wondering why you're taking him onto your farm/ranch. That's a wonderful question. So what we do, and what we've been doing for quite a while, just over 7 years, is we have a farm animal rescue. Let me type it at the bottom. So I'm a Survivor Sanctuary is the name of our channel, and just about all of the animals that we showcase and highlight on there are farm animal rescues. And so we've always welcomed farm animal rescues. Now, yes, we do have a couple of dogs that we've rescued. We've also have a couple of cats who we've rescued. But what we do is we can't rescue every animal. But what we do is, as often as we're able to, if we have a space available, if we've been blessed with the resources that we need, then we will absolutely take on a new rescue. And so the reason it's called I'm a Survivor, not I am, it's I'm a, is because we have a donkey named I'm a Jean. I'm a Jean was a Hurricane Harvey survivor. She was there at the property during Hurricane Harvey. And so when we decided to go ahead and do a farm animal rescue, we named it after her. I'm a Survivor. So so just to name a few of our rescues, we have Roman, who's our big Belgian draft rescue. We have Rita, who are over here together out in the pasture right now. We also have, oh my God, I'm going to say, well, you guys would probably know more than me, 5 or 6 donkey rescues. We have 4 other horse rescues. We have an ostrich rescue. We have goat rescues, pig rescues, alpaca rescues. Oh, golly gee, y'all. And so there's quite a few rescued animals. And so what's going on with Chuck is the fact that Justin, who is a friend of mine and also a social media creator, has a bull that he is unable to keep. The bull got a little bit too old and too big for his britches and ended up injuring Justin. And so Justin loves that bull, and he would like to have a place for that bull to go where he can have a forever home and live a beautiful and wonderful life. And so all that we're doing is offering that home to Chuck as a part of our rescue. Thank you, Carol. You don't have to do that, sweet lady. It says that Sherry says they are loading Chuck now. They're live. So it looks like Justin is going live now, and they're trying to load Chuck. Well, friends, in that case, I want to say goodbye. Thank you for watching this morning. I'm going to go watch that myself. So you guys have a fun day. We love you so very much. And guess what? I'll be seeing you live later this afternoon. I can promise it. Okay. Have a fun day, y'all. Thank you so much for watching, and we're blessed to have you. And I will end this video the same way it started, right here.
So the truth of the matter is, rearing his head up and chasing the trucks, and however, he's getting castrated.
Right.
So it can go either way. Right? So
Yeah,
I guess the best choice is we just cancel this whole thing and we leave him right where he's at for the rest of his life.
Can't.
Why?
He needs a bigger area.
So you're willing to give Chuck up to Lester so he could have a bigger area?
I want him to be happy. I want him to be able to live out a happy life, his best life.
I love that man. His name is Jeff, and I love that man. He's going to be happy, Jeff. I give you my word. He's going to be happy. And if you and I can exchange numbers, I will be more than happy to send you a daily update, a daily picture of what Chuck is up to on any given day. Don't y'all want to just hug that guy? How many of y'all just want to go up and hug that guy? I do. I want to hug that guy. I do. I want to hug him. I love him. Okay? All right. Thank you all for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.